I've been meaning to make this video about what's coming because everyone's feeling really weird right now. And I've made some other astrology videos, but for the most part, I don't really share that much about astrology. But I wanted to create a little bit of a plan or a warning or just an educating video about like some of the themes that we are going to see in the coming years if we use astrology. So a lot of people are looking into the future and they are trying to figure out what's coming and they're feeling a lot of unrest because of the current administration. I just wanted to kind of look into that and see what does astrology tell us about like what's coming and what are the themes that we can expect. Um, and what do we need to look out for? And what does the timeline look like for all this? So I made some notes so I could kind of more easily explain this because I was going over a lot of transits last night and just kind of like looking at 2024 to 2034 and just seeing like some of the things that will play out. Um, so starting in 2024 to 2028, we have the shockwave years. So the themes for the shockwave years are basically going to be rapid technological leaps, social unrest, and a lot of grassroots innovation, which we're seeing right now. Because of this, there's going to be a lot of sudden restrictive laws, restricting and censoring. There will be AI driven surveillance and a lot of polarization. We're already seeing that. It is an opportunity for strong citizen-led networks, so if that's something that you're interested in or you're looking into joining, I would strongly encourage you to do it in this window of time until 2028, because after that, it probably won't even be a possibility. So it's important that we have decentralized movements and communities that join together. Joining tribes, figuring out who you're affiliated with, and joining will be pretty important in the coming years because there will be great divides in the population. Lots of tug of war between like liberating people and the technology for that and using it for good and like using it to control people. In 2028, we hit like a very important pivotal moment. This is the crossroads. This is when new governance is implemented, experiments on how do we control the population? Let's try this. Global movements, people starting to feel like something needs to be done, and a lot of religious, ideological holy wars. There will be intensified polarization. And the problem is that around this time, this is when we start to see the first signs of really intense authoritarianism. There is a potential right now in this window, 2028, 2030, for people to cooperate, build tech to get along, work together, and use a little bit more of democratic policy and AI using it for public good. The problem is that by the end of this phase, this is like a really unique window of time that by 2030, it will be clearer as to who is winning. Is the authoritarian path winning or is the democratic governance winning? By 2030, we'll be able to see like what's winning because this is a battle. In 2030 to 2032, Saturn will be in Gemini, and this is when it will be an information war, worse than we have right now. So, in 5 years, digital fighting over information is going to get so extreme, and we have to be very careful with our eyes open and our third eye open because it won't be very clear what's actually real. Education is going to completely transform in 2030. Media, how we digest media, something is going to change. The communication networks, how we communicate with one another, like all of this is going to drastically change. I just don't know how. There will be censorship campaigns, propaganda, standardized misinformation, and a lot of monopolies of media, which we already have, but these will be like new players and old players. Um, Whoever controls the information during this time is the one who will move into the next decade with power. So whether that's the people or a person is to be determined. In 2032 to 2034, Saturn is in Cancer. This is when we start to get into things that have been bothering people for generations: the housing crisis, family policies, securing our homelands and our borders. Yes, we've been talking about that right now, but we're going to start putting in a lot of policies around these topics. There will be increased nationalism, which is already increasing. So this is only 7 years away. It will just increase more. The borders will increasingly become harder to cross. So keep this in mind if you're planning on going somewhere else, because now it might be the time to start planning that. Give yourself the deadline of 2032 to be relocated where you need to be relocated, because it might not be possible to move after that date. There will be community protection programs, family focused benefits. It actually will be more pro family. There will be a lot more policies put in place to promote the family. That could be childcare, it could be parental leave. I'm not sure what's coming, but it will be to increase the protections and resources of the family. Um, this can create a little bit of a dichotomy between control and protection. Are we being controlled or are we being protected? This will be the question of those years. In 2034 to 2040, this is when things get really interesting. In 2034 to 2040, whichever system has been given the greatest advantage, that means every tiny thing that we do, every tiny little effort, it it helps further the goal, because by this time, by 2034, any efforts that have been done, any seeds that have been planting will come to harvest. So whatever efforts have been made will start to see their fruits bloom. That could mean that we have a system of complete authoritarianism until 2050 when a new age starts, or we have a cooperative democratic group or system of networks that facilitates help and resources for people. And it will be more communal. If not, it's more authoritarian and more dystopian. This will be the era that authoritarianism either takes 100% full control, 1984 style, or the people overcome the authoritarian regime. So grassroots is really the only way that this is going to work. A lot of small groups and small networks and tribes have a lot more power than you would think. A lot of little networks sprinkled around fighting a centralized power has an impact. So now we're pushing into 2040. This is when we start to get out of Aquarius. So we'll have a systemic review. We start to look at like the past, which is what we're doing right now. We're reviewing the age of Capricorn. So we'll be like reviewing the last age. We'll be figuring out what we want to build into the next cycle, which will be Pluto in Pisces. And at this point, people could get really spiritually disillusioned. A lot of the freedoms that people fought for, people stop caring about. There could be either massive healing and spirituality that increases, or there could be actual like artistic and creative renaissances around this time. This could be like an enlightenment era, but it is basically the harvest of everything that has occurred and everything that we've done in the previous 10 years. So, my warning for people is to start doing things now. Don't give up, because we have time before these things will take root, but it does require fighting. We will have to push back, because this will generally be the pressure that is put on the population, and astrology can show us that we have a chance, but there is a battle to be fought and won. So this is sort of a warning to people, or just a general timeline of what could occur in the coming years, to give people a heads up as to some of the themes. I didn't really touch on a lot of the positive themes, like we will get into some massive medical and like anti-aging technology, but that will only be given to the people if the people have a democratic society and the elites don't win.